If you have a sefer in front of you, it'd be much easier. Open.
Yeah. Oh. I didn't know I had an extra digit.
Parak Tess. Finish off the week with Parak Tess. We have a lot of Hakdamas, so this should be easily understood. There's a Nefesh Hachaim. V'hinei dar hamidbar shezachu liyos me'oichlei shulchan gavoya. That when we were in the midbar, the dar hamidbar, we were zoicha to eat mishulchan gavoya. We were spoon-fed from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from the table of Shamayim. In other words, nobody went to work in the morning. Nobody opened up their grocery month store. Nobody. There was no maso matin. There was no business. No electricians, no plumbers. We ate me'ochlei shulchan gavoya, lechem min hashamayim, tvar yoim b'yoimai, v'simlasam le'volsam me'aleim. Even our clothing was taken care of. We were completely taken care of in the midbar. V'lo'hayu tzrichim l'shum esek parnasa ba'olam klal. And we didn't have to do anything for parnasa. L'divrei hakol. That was a situation, I just want to point out, which was similar to the situation of Adam Harisha and Koydem Achet in Gan Eden. It's also similar to the situation that will be Lost in Lavai, when things will come much easier to people, if not completely for free to people. The Gemara says that Asid Hai Lanais Lahitzig Luskais, that bread will grow on trees. Doesn't say money will grow on trees, because probably you won't even need money. What do you need money? Like if the bread grows on trees, what do you need the money for? Things will go to their complete. So instead of cotton growing on a cotton seed, on a cotton tree, so the shirt will come straight out of the cotton tree. I'm not sure if that's to be taken literally or just means things will be a lot easier. It's not our idiom here. But things will be a lot easier. The reason is because we're going back to Gan Eden, and the klal of B'zeis HaPecha Toichel Lechem will no longer apply. We finished B'zeis HaPecha Toichel Lechem, which is not a mitzvah or a schus, it's a klal of B'zeis HaPecha Toichel Lechem. So the reason why there's a geula is because we fulfilled whatever we're supposed to fulfill in Galus. So B'zeis HaPecha Toichel Lechem is no longer applicable. So we go back to the world in its original kavanah, and that l'chara is to just everything is just there, available for you and easier. And it's also the matzav of both Yevos HaMashiach and Olam Haba, as it's usually called, the other world, the afterworld, which is Tzadikim Yoshvim, V'atreseim V'resheim, and then the Miziv HaShchina. One's in Olam Haba, assuming Olam Haba means in Shamayim, could be Olam Haba means here by Tzkias HaMesim, but wherever it means that the B'zeis HaPecha Toichel Lechem no longer applies. And what are you going to find when you get to Shamayim? You're going to find Tzadikim Yoshvim, V'atreseim V'resheim, V'lehem Miziv HaShchina. That's what we're doing all day. Nice. So it could be nice. They say that the Welt says that Gan Eden and Gehenna is the same thing. You sit in the base medrash and learn. It just depends for who. Is that L'divrei Hakol.
Really, that description is according to Pirkei Avos. After Tchias HaMesim.
Yes,
It's a non-physical world, or it is a physical world.
It's a physical world. Why is it a physical world? But it's a physical world, which is different than the world we're used to.
So I don't know, this question, I don't know if it's our topic there, but they had it, if scholars are growing on trees and etc., where's the creativity? It's not just about our...
In Torah. Or is it in Torah? In Yiddishkeit, our creativity we become like malachim in that sense. Which one, as I say, for one person is Gan Eden, another person is Gehenna. Like, do you want to really live in that situation? So that's a different topic. But even the Indian, by the way, just because you mentioned, even the Indian of Tchias HaMesim is really back, like the Ramchal says, the Derech Hashem, it's back to Gan Eden where there was no Misa. In other words, the Xeris Misa The whole concept of Misa, the union of Misa, came about in Gan Eden by the Chet. So once there's Tchias HaMesim, we're finished with that Chet. That's what that means. We're finished with the Chet. So there's no Misa. And not only is no Misa, but even those that died will have Tchias HaMesim. So it's all just undoing what we're used to, which is this Gan Eden situation, which sounds pretty good. But L'divrei Hakol, nevertheless, he says, according to everybody, even in that situation, it's only considered, this language here is what we need to explain. So I just want to point out to you, just keep it in background, but it doesn't say Oiser Rotzain Hashem, or Oiser Rotzain of the Boyer Olam, or HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or all the many different words for God that there are, the Eibishter. But Oiser Rotzain Shel Makom, it's like Eish L'Dayik, like why that's the lashon of Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in the Gemara, Oiser Rotzain Shel Makom. I'm not sure that means just you're doing, we always say that means Ratzon Hashem. That means something a little bit different than the regular usage. But even in that situation, you find in the Midbar itself, you find that there was Ha'asafsuv Vasher B'Kirba, you find there was the Erev Rav, you find that there was complainers, Mesoidonim, there was all kinds of, there was Kairach, all kinds of problems in the Makosh Sheitzin, there's all kinds of problems in the Midbar when we had everything. So the answer is, even if you have everything, that doesn't mean that you're you're a bug in a rug over here. That means that you have everything, but that maybe obligates you even more to be Oisin Ritzayin Shemakim.
You can still mess it up.
Yeah, well, in other words, just being in that situation is not yet Oisin Ritzayin Shemakim. I know this doesn't sound like a bit Kiddush, but many people think it is. Like it's Oisin, look, I'm not working, and I'm taking money from the tzibur, and I'm Oisin Ritzayin Shemakim. Like that's not the Ritzayin Shemakim. That's not the Ritzayin Shemakim. But there is such a situation of Oisin Ritzayin Shemakim where I'm able to spend my time doing Ratzon Hashem and not have to be burdened with the world of Gashmias. That's like Adam Arishin Koydem Achem. So even in that situation, look, you see Adam Arishin was in Gan Eden and he did a chet. And what was the chet? The chet was that the Nachash said to him that you can do it yourself. In other words, like forget about this connection between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You could be Kelokim, Oisei Toiver, Yodea Toivera. You could do it yourself. That was his Yitzhahara. Yitzhahara was like, what do I need this direct funnel from HaKadosh Baruch Hu? I can do it myself, and he fell for that. So even in such a situation, L'divrei Hakol, like Mikra Oisei Ritzayin Shel Makom Elim Kena Yimistaklim Klapi Malo B'Yosher Gamor. Unless, and here's an interesting lashon, I'm mistakel klape malo b'yosher gomer. My eyes, I'm mistakel, I'm staring towards Hashem b'yosher gomer in a completely straight path, which we need to re-explain. And it's only if u'mishabdim eslibam rak l'Torah v'avodah. It's only for the person who's completely committed their heart to Torah and avodah, v'yirasai and yiras shamayim yisor shai. Yomam v'layla l'yamash m'piyam, they're 24/7. You see, the whole thing, and we're going to get to this, is the whole thing with Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. The whole thing. What do I know what the whole thing is with Reb Shimon Bar Yochai? But the Lefi Habonasi, the story of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai being hiding in a cave for his 12 years and being fed miraculously through a carob tree and a miraculous spring. That whole thing was Reb Shimon Bar Yochai entering into the Inyan of Misa. In other words, he was such a kadosh that he was able to enter in this world while living into this world, an unreal world, a world where he was the same thing as the Dar Hamidbar. He was the same thing as the Oichlei Haman. He sat in a cave, and he was like dead. He was buried in dirt. I try go at least once or twice a year to Kiyin, where we know for sure that was the cave of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai up in the Galil, And there's no kever there. There's no, it doesn't have all the standard Mekoimus HaKadosh, but I think it's like the most Kadosh in a way. And I crawl inside of that cave and I sit there for a few minutes. You can sit there. You can still see the carob tree and you can still see the Mayan, and it's like an amazing thing that you can see. But I think to myself, like, this has to be like a little bit of what Olam Haba is going to be inside this dark cave. Not that I don't mean that it's going to be unpleasant, but here was a situation of a man, a basar v'dam, a human being like us, and he brought himself to a madrega where not only did Hashem give him food and drink, Hashem gave him Torah. Kadosh Baruch Hu was Megala Sod to Rav Shimon Bar Yochai Ubanov. So, and to the point that when he came out of the cave, it was a gather of Tchias HaMesim, I believe, and he just couldn't understand the world. Oiskim b'chayesha, u'menichin chayoilam. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Farming and working. Like, what are you doing? He just couldn't understand it. So that was like Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. Now this, the Gemara says, and a different Gemara, as we keep on quoting, is Kama Asuk Rav Shimon Bar Yochai v'lo also biyadim. Not everybody gets in the cave and expect. Most people will die in that cave after 2 days. It's not just from a lack of vitamin D. Forget about water and food. Like you can't live in a cave. But Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was able to do it. But there's a tendency. It seems to me that the Gemara is saying there's a tendency to put yourself into that situation, and we're not really holding in that situation. It's not normal, to be in that
Nefesh Hachaim says, in addition to Torah, it says la'avoda.
Avoda.
So what's the avoda? What avoda did he do?
It means davening.
It means davening.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean doing things for
that's
Hashem.
malacha.
That's malacha.
Avoda is tefillah. Avoda is tefillah. Torah, avoda, gemilas chasam, and karbanos in the case of kohanim, but in our case it's a case of tefillah. So Torah avoda, v'yirasa yisbar shvai, yoyma v'layla layam. But he's not talking about Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. He's talking about the Dor HaMidbar. I'm only saying that Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was like the Dor HaMidbar. So you could have even a unique situation, even when it's not the Dor HaMidbar, where you're in the Dor HaMidbar. Even when you're not dead, you're sort of dead.
It was a madrega of Shiurim that he was suffering there.
How do you know?
Isn't there? What's the source of where his skin cracked and his
but it didn't bother him. That just shows you how his body was just unimportant. Yeah.
It bothered his son.
Okay, son is different. In other words, even in the Dor HaMidbar, it was Dvarim Kiksava Mamish, like the Torah says, La Yamush Sefer HaTorah Zami Picha. Where does it say that? Yoshua. Which is interesting because Yoshua entered with the people into Eretz Yisrael, and there was an Indian of all the son v'yasafta de Ganecha v'Sirosh v'Yitzarecha. And there Hashem told him, Lo Yamush Sefer HaTorah Zami Picha. It's like an interesting. Belina Tois El Hatzat Klal. Not moving, not swaying at all. Afsha kalo leisa karnasa. Ukamaymar mzal lenidna Torah elo loichle haman. That the Torah was given to those that ate man. So that's the new way here now to understand oichle haman. Oichle haman is 100% meshubah HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I have nothing to do with this world at all. Lachain, and as I keep mentioning, and I want to mention again, the Meraglim, for instance, were happy with that situation. They didn't want to go into Eretz Yisrael and start to become like real. They didn't want to leave the incubator or the womb to go and be to real life. They liked it there. They liked it there, as we do. Everybody likes being taken care of. That's a Yetzer Hara. L'chein himidu az es hakruvim. So then in the Midbar, when they made the Mishkan. And Mitzalel made the Mishkan, it was obvious that the Kruvim there, that like the natural Kruvim, the real Kruvim, the Kruvim that were on the Aron Kodesh, it was obvious that the Kruvim should be, one of them is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, one of them is Klal Yisrael, and they're eye to eye, pel, peh, yad el yad, however you want to describe it, they were there. They were 100% connected. Pnei Mishalachiv Mamish, Laharos. Yashar Yechazu Panemu Yisparach. That they were Yashar Yechazu, they looked straight into the eye of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or the face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Panim Befanim Imam Kedoshai. By the way, this is probably the pshat, now that we're here, in Moshe Rabbeinu, that Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to Hashem Panim Bepanim, like the Kruvim. That's probably the pshat. It's not just like he had a closer relationship with HaKadosh. Yes, he had a closer relationship, but the probably the taich of the thing is that he spoke to HaKadosh Baruch Hu Panim Befanim.
And he represented all Klal Yisrael.
At that time. Panim Befanim, he was on Har Sinai, he was Panim Befanim, other Nevi'im, was Koyamar Hashem. Like it was already a step removed. Zeh hadavar asher tziva Hashem. The Moshe Rabbeinu said, Zeh hadavar asher tziva Hashem. That was, the Gemara says, that's Panim Befanim. Now, that was in Eretz. I want to remind you of something that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. It's very, very important. In Kabbalah, there's a concept of Yosher and Igulim. I mentioned this. I just want to review this point. Yosher, what?
Kava Yosher.
Kava Yosher. So, like the way it works, I explained, is as much as we can understand, diagrammatically, thank you, diagrammatically speaking, is that there is a Kava Yosher, let's think of it as light, which comes straight from Shemayim into this world, and that's called Yosher. And it's possible to walk under that light and bask in that light. When Adam Arishan did his chet, so became Igulim. Igulim means circles, and if you look at the diagrams, a lot of circles. The circles are the olamais, the spheroids. They're all. That's a very intricate, diagram of how the world works. It's not, by the way, really Kabbalah. I'm just saying it's just how the world works. Either Kabbalah is something else, but let's it's brought in Sifrei Kabbalah. Let's put it that way. That there is Yosher and there is Igulim. Igulim, Kishmoy Kainu. Igulim represents nature and Teva and the world as we know it. There's all kinds of spheros. There's all kinds of, but it's whatever Igulim. We understand Igulim better than we could understand Yosher because we live in Igulim. Don't you feel like you're walking around in a circle sometimes? Like we understand Igulim. Igulim is Teva. Igulim is Teva. Igulim has to do with Hishtadlus. Igulim has to do with Golus. Golus, by the way, means to go around in circles. That's the word means Lashon Gal. So to be Gola is to walk around in circles or drain around the whole world. That's a world that we're used to, but it's a world of Igulim, and that was only created, the Arizal explains, after the Chet. Before that, there was no world of Igulim. There was just a world of Yosher. World of Yosher. And this, the Arizal says, so the key word here is Yosher or Teva, Yosher or Igulim. I'm really emphasizing the Yosher here. Yosher or anything else but Yosher, because the Arizal brings a pasuk that says, in the name of Hashem, Ani asisi es Adam Yashar v'hema bikshu cheshbonos rabim. The Arizal says that's talking about Adam Arisha. Ani asisi es Adam Yashar. I created a situation of Yosher, Gan Eden, where you can just stand there and Hashem will give you everything. Yosher. But Yosher is a two-way, reflection. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu going Yosher to the Adam, and the Adam going Yosher to the Adam. V'heima, Adam Arisha, he said, I don't know, like the Nachash with all the Pilpulim, and I want to be able to, be myself a Baal Bechira, and I want to be able to be myself a Yodea Davar, Yodea Das, even the Eitz Hadas. I know that deep inside most of us we're happy that Adam Arisha did that, because it's very difficult to think of the world as being Yosher. Very difficult for us. I think it would render us powerless subjects of the king. It would pawns in a way. So I know it's. I think this is true of most people, that deep inside, like we're okay with the chet of Adam Arisha because he made the world the way it is. We wouldn't
comfortable with.
We're comfortable with that, But I don't even think we're comfortable with accomplishing things. There's no greater feeling in the world than overcoming an obstacle and whether it's even a spiritual obstacle or a physical obstacle, or building a skyscraper or whatever you're into. It's a great thing. It's a great feeling, and all of psychology is based on it, and all of everything you'll read about happiness is all based on it. And the last thing you want to do is just sit there and vegetate. So I think, if at least superficially, we're okay with the Chet of Adam Harishon. I don't know why we're so anxious about the Geula, because the Geula is a case where that's not what's happening. But so we'll get back to that. Why this is we're very comfortable with routine. We're comfortable with what we're used to. But a lot of people struggle a lot even during retirement. If you don't have some kind of a program of either learning or woodworking or something, you can have a big problem with retirement too, because we like doing, we like being, and that's why Adam Rishon ate from the Eitz Hadas. That is exactly why he ate from the Eitz Hadas. Like, I don't know, sit here and bask in the light of Hashem, like he wanted to do. He wanted to do something. I think even Rosh Yeshivas want to do something. That's why they build yeshivas. People want to build. People want to do.
He named all the animals and he tended the garden.
Tended the garden. Okay. So the Arizal says, "Ani asisi es adam yosher," that I created man yosher. V'hema bikshu cheshbonos rabin. Suppose, and they looked for all kinds of cheshbonos and things they wanted to do themselves. So what that means Kabbalistically is that I created the Kav HaYashar, Ani Asisi Es Adam Yashar, the Hema, and they made all these igulim. Cheshbonos Rabin, they made all these igulim going around and around. That's the Kabbalah that I want to teach here. When we use the word Yosher, and I pointed out that this is often skipped or ignored or not noticed in the text. When we talk the word Yosher, we mean Yosher. Reb Chaim Volozhin is a big makubal. But we mean Yosher as opposed to Igulim, meaning my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Yosher. So he said here in this paragraph, I think 3 times, at that time, the Osin Ritzon Shel Makom in Gan Eden, in the Midbar, Osin Ritzon Shel Makom was only happening in Hayu Mistaklan Kapi Mala, B'Yosher Gomer. B'Yosher Gomer. What is Korach? Korach was, I want to do something for myself. Why should he take have all the fun? I want to have some of it, But Moshe Rabbeinu himself was anav mikol adam. He had no gashmiistic needs really, and it was just about Yosher. So at that time, not now, but at that time, the Osin Ritzon Shel Makom was Yosher, not Igulim. We went back to Gan Eden. We went back to the Tikkun Achet. In the Midbar. Except for those that didn't. There was that opportunity in the Midbar by Har Sinai, and even further, like Nitna Torah Eloich Haman.
So those people who reached out were had a Chaim Yosher, and there were other people amongst them that were Gulim, so to speak.
Yeah, but the Chiddush here was Yasher doesn't mean this way. Yasher means this way, right? So Yasher means Yasher with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That was the matzav of Yosher. Is that the matzav the way it's supposed to be? That's not the point. The point is that was one scenario of life, which is Yosher. I mentioned, I'd like to repeat this because I think it's an important part, important chiddush in the Rambam. The Rambam says in Hilchos Talmud Torah that it's absolutely usher to have your parnasa from Torah. Like if we were really doing the right thing, I believe, even somebody who's teaching Torah, a Rebbe, let's say. So the Gemara says on a Rebbe, a person's a Rebbe, mahu b'china mafata tia b'china. You're not supposed to charge to teach Torah. It's somewhat of an industry today, but I'm just saying let's leave that. Again, I'm not talking the politics here of Torah and Derech Eretz, Kollel. I don't care. I'm not a politician. I'm just saying that if you go with the din of the Gemara is mahu b'china mafata tia b'china. You should be b'china. Hashem is b'china. You should be b'china. So Elamai. So the Gemara says you can't do it because eis lasus l'Hashem efer Torah sefer. Like if everyone's going to teach for free, So there's not going to be anybody teaching Torah, right? We can be sure of that. So what are you allowed to do already? You're allowed to take schar batola. So I could say, look, if I'd be working, I'd be making $100 a day or $100 an hour or whatever. So that's what I'm charging to teach. I'm not taking money to teach. That's not halacha. That's brought to Shulchan Aruch. You're there. I'm not taking money to teach. I'm only taking money because, and I'm not even taking money because I need money. I'm not taking money as an ani. I'm taking money as a new idea that Chazal coined, which is schar batola. I'm sitting here because if I'm going to teach you Torah, how am I supposed to make a living? So take care of that for me. But that's the people's chiyuv. Give him his schar batola. He's taking off from his valuable time to teach us Torah. And really, the more money a person can make, the more really you should have to pay him. But what the point is that that we're living in a world of igulim. Now the Rambam says that it's absolutely usher to take money or to decide, well, I'm going to go into a career of Torah and that's how I'm going to make my living, and I'm very creative and I'm going to make a business out of Torah. I'm going to figure it out with the internet, with this and that. Like, I'm going to figure it out. Also, because then you're making a kardum lach per boy. The only way to do that kind of thing is to think l'shem shamayim. I'm doing this because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to do it. How am I supposed to eat? So schar batola. But it's not thinking of a business of how I can make money from Torah. This is not a milo. This is a chasar to do that. You can't do it. If you start a yeshiva as a business, it's not a milo, it's a chasar, a way to make parnasa. That doesn't work. It doesn't work in halacha. It does work in halacha to start a yeshiva, start a kollel or be a kollel, because then you have schar batola. If you're accomplishing something, if you're accomplishing something for the world, so then it makes sense. So that's a different thing that I don't want to get into. But whether they're, you have to be learning l'chayr full time to be able to do that. But the Rambam says you're not allowed to do it. And then, volumes later in the Rambam, he says this famous thing, all the way at the end of Zroyim, in Hilchos Shemitah V'Yovel, he's talking about Leviim. And Leviim have to be supported by Klal Yisrael. And then he says, at the end, which is very surprising for the Rambam, because the Rambam himself is so against this. The Rambam became a doctor just for Parnasa, not because he wanted to be a doctor. It was for Parnasa. So he said, V'loi shevet bilvad, lo shevet Levi bilvad, it's not only shevet Levi which takes from the people, elo kol ish v'ish mikol ba'ei ha'olam, whoever it is. Asher nad v'rucha oiseh, by the way, kol ish v'ish mikol ba'ei ha'olam includes goyim. Am I right? Doesn't say Kol Yisrael. It says Kol Ish V'ish Mikol Ba'ei Olam. Want to be a priest? That's what he says. Anybody from any walk of life, any place in the world, Asher Nadva Ruchai Oisai, that has some type of an uplifted spirit. V'hevinu Midaitoi, or Midayoi, it says here. Libodel, he knows himself that I want to be different. In other words, there's something inside of him, a voice, a calling inside of him, as the Rambam says, Libadel, I want to be separate of everything in the world. La'amoid lifnei Hashem l'sharsai, I want to be an Eved Hashem. Ula'avdai, I want to worship Him all day. Ladeya es Hashem, b'holach ladeya es Hashem. So here's a guy, not a Levi, I'm not a Kohen, I'm not a Hasidic Rebbe, I'm just a guy. But I say, I'm different, I feel different, and I want to dedicate my entire life and day to serving Hashem. So the Rambam says, this guy wants to do this, and then he adds, V'holach yashar. And what are these words? V'holach yashar, and he goes yashar. What does that mean? He's honest? Why does he add in this V'holach yashar? So the yashar here, the Rambam means, I believe, is the yashar of the Mekubalim. The yashar, halach yashar, means he's willing to put himself straightly aligned with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, just like the Dar HaMidbar, just like Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, just like the time of Tchias HaMesim, just like Adam Arishon Kodem Achet. He adds in these words, it's inexplicable. The words that he says, V'halach yashar, just doesn't fit in. unless you say this, and this whole Rambam is a steerer to the other Rambam, which says you're not allowed to do that. So, v'holach yasher k'moshe asehu ha'elokim, like God originally made him. Rambam his words are amazing. I have to tell you, I've been learning this Rambam since I'm a teenager. I mean, I've seen this Rambam, all the Rambams. This Rambam I know. It's a very yeshivish Rambam, and I never noticed these words. V'holach yasher k'moshe asehu ha'elokim. He decides I'm going to be the way God originally created me, which is Yashar. Holach Yashar k'moshe asehu ha'elokim, and therefore uparak me'al tzavarei oil ha'cheshbonos. Beautiful. Ani asisi as adam Yashar v'hema bikshu cheshbonos rabim. Look at the lashon of the Rambam. Uparak me'al tzavarei oil ha'cheshbonos. He says, I'm not going to be from those which are bikshu cheshbonos rabim. Asher bikshu b'nei adam, which normal people do. So what's with this guy? Says the Rambam, Harez and Iskadish Kodesh Kadashim. It's Kodesh Kadashim. But he said in Hilchos Talmud Torah, it's an Aveira. So the Aveira is all.
Here he's taking from the Sibor.
Well, how else is he living? Hashem I'm making a permanent commitment. Let me finish the Rambam. To Hashem Chelkoi. Hashem is taking care of me. And to this person we say we give him whatever he needs. Just like we give Trumas and Maestros to Levium, we should give this guy also. And you don't have to be a Kohen or a Levi, but you have to be in this matzav of a Holach Yasher. This is his thinking. Holach Yasher k'moshe asehu ha'elokim.
So what's the whole difference, Kavana?
Well, yeah, what's my intention? But you got to go so deep within yourself to make this cheshbon. But a person says, look, I had enough, I just want to learn all day. Okay, me too. That's not the cheshbon. The cheshbon is not like let everybody take care of me. I took care of people. Let them take care of me. We're not. That's not the derech. The derech is that I'm saying that let's replace a person with Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. So Reb Shimon Bar Yochai said, you know what? I've reached the madrega. Here he's hiding from the Romans. In that cave he reached the madrega. In the cave. So I've reached a madrega where I am Yasher HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I haven't got an ability to work for a living. I have nobody to take care of me. There's no guys in Pekin, no Arabs in Pekin bringing me up food over here in my cave. I mean, I'm just Samach HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And in that case, HaKadosh Baruch Hu took care of him. He didn't have to come out to the tzibur either. Maybe afterwards he did, but not that. Maybe when he left the cave for the rest of his life, he did come to the tzibur. Or the tzibur took care of him. I presume they did. But in the cave, in any case, he went Yasher Im HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kav HaYasher. Kav HaYasher. So Yasher here has a whole different meaning. And he came out of the cave, and he said, I'm Yasher. Not that I'm straight, honest. I'm Yasher with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you guys are all in the Igulim. You guys are all making cheshbonos. And menichin chaye olam va'iskin b'chaye shah. That's the way he saw. To which the Bas Kol came out and said, "Back into your cave. You're not yet holding. You can't go out. What does it mean, back into your cave? This wasn't a punishment. This was, if you're not going to be part of the world, don't be part of the world. Let's sit in the cave for the rest of your life. You can't come out of the cave and then expect everybody, the whole world, to be out of the cave, to be in the cave. Is that going to work? So the Bas Kol wasn't telling about, I think, an oidish, back into jail. Do not pass go. Yeah, that's not what was going on. The Bas Kol was saying to him that you belong in a cave. You're not part of the world where people are being Zareya and Chayresh and selling and buying, and there's a shuk, and he came to the shuk Tzipori, Shuk Tzipori, 17 kilometers of shuk it was, from Tzipori all the way to Tveria. Shuk. Buying, selling, what's going on? Like what's going on? All of a sudden, Rosh Bar Yochai comes to Manhattan. It sounds like a...
Weren't the Meraglim just like that, though? I mean, that's what they wanted.
Well, the other way.
Yeah.
No, the other way. The Meraglim. Yeah, okay, yeah.
And
Exactly.
Amen. The problem that I have is that in the Midbar, Am Yisrael was not, they had different motivation. They were whining and complaining. And that's how they got there. That's how they got to the man and the Mayim, and it's all the complaining was not...
Meaning, they first of all, they didn't complain against man. They complained against Slavs.
Right, Slav.
That was different. They wanted
Right.
something more than
Right.
The Ochlei Haman doesn't say to the Ochlei Haslav, it says the Ochlei Haman. So the man was Hashem's way of supporting them. But I want basar. Miyachileni basar. I had basar. I had garlics in Mitzrayim. That was like a different thing. So what are they saying? They're saying that we want to be in the midbar taken care of, but take care of us at the standard that we had in Mitzrayim, as if they were doing so well in Mitzrayim. But what they remembered, this is the human nature that you can go through a Holocaust, and you remember the potatoes of Auschwitz. It's like a craziness of people. But those were potatoes. But there's a guy who came to me who wanted to publish a book. He recipes from the Holocaust. Potato peels. Like, recipes of the Holocaust. What's the?
How would you do that?
I just couldn't wrap my brain around it. What?
Water potatoes.
Recipes to survive.
No, I mean, forget about what recipes do they have. But maybe they make soup too. But what's the? Why would anybody in their kitchen want to do recipes from the Holocaust on Tisha B'Av? What's the? When would you? Why would you? A whole manuscript, recipes of the Holocaust. Jews.
So the pasuk Ki Shaar Dafei Hashem, that's the idea.
Beautiful. Same thing. Every time, I just saying, every time you come to the word Yashar, think about it differently. Don't only think about it as Yesharim, Darchei Hashem. Don't think about it as Yashar. Obviously, Hashem is Yashar. Agid ki Yashar Hashem, Suri V'Yavla right? Yashar Hashem. Hashem is willing to go Yashar. We know God is straight shooter. That's not the issue. He's willing to go Yashar, but and what that pasuk means, by the way, Suri V'Yavla Sabai, is that if we have problems in this world, that's our chet. Hashem was willing to go Yashar. So Tzuri v'lo yavlo sabai. Don't blame it on HaKadosh Baruch Hu if things are not going right. This is the chet that did it.
Where's this Rambam written?
The Rambam is the last Rambam in Hilchos Shemitah V'Yovel, Perek Yud Gimel of Shemitah V'Yovel. But then last thing, Harei David Omer, David HaMelech said at one point in his life, he didn't say this when he was born, at one point in his life he said, Hashem menos chelki v'choisi ata toimich gairoli. Because the Rambam ends the Shemitah V'Yovel with this pasuk that David HaMelech at some point said, I'm supported by Hashem. Hashem menos chelki. Ata v'choisi ata toimich gairoli. So that's the madrega that David HaMelech b'sof Yamav came to the madrega of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, who seemingly, for at least that temporary period of time, came to the madrega of the Dor HaMidbar, who at that time came to the madrega of Adam HaRishon. And that's what we need to understand. And at that time, the Oisin Ritzono Shel Makom meant that I'm not walking away from that beam, that beam of Or called Yashar. I'm just looking, and this is what Reb Chaim Volozhin says also. It's so clear that this is his lashon over here. Just one more time. L'divrei HaKollel Mikri Oisin Ritzono Shel Makom Ela Im Kain Hayu Mistaklin Klapei Malo B'Yosher Gomor. Pashib Shah. Unless they are looking up to the Shemayim B'Yosher Gomor U'Meshabdin Aslibam Rak L'Torah V'Avodah. That's what it's talking about. We're talking about Yosher Gomer. And then the last line of this paragraph, that the Kruvim were Pneim Ish Alachim Mamish Laharois, comes to show you, what does it mean that the Kruvim were face to face? Ki Yoshar Yechazu Panemoi Isparach. It means that there in the Midbar, we were in the Kav of Yashar, and therefore we were looking God straight in the face. We were looking God straight in the face. This is, on a practical level, Chas v'shalom, if a person is on his deathbed and there's nothing to do any longer. There's just nothing to do. If you live long enough, you meet somebody that's in this situation. There's just nothing to do. The doctors say there's nothing we can do. All of a sudden the doctors become religious on you, like that's all up to and you're that person. And by the way, I say this to people in that situation. If I find myself standing with somebody that's dying, and there's just no hope, I tell them that you are now in the makom of Yashar. It's between you and Hashem and you. You're right in a way, and that's why a bircha shchiv meira is always miskayim. The bracha of a person who's about to die is miskayim. At this moment, you're biyad Hashem. While you're still in this world, at this moment, you're adam arishin koydem achet. If you do tshuva, and if you say vidui with some, I'm not giving hospice lessons. I'm just explaining what I taught myself to do as a rabbi after years and years is to say vidui, but not just to say vidui, to explain that at this moment you could be in a makom of yashar, and nobody wants to be in this moment. Nobody's looking forward to this moment, but it's a moment. It is a moment of tzaddik gamor. You said vidui, you did tshuva. Nobody can help you. You can't eat. You can't do anything. Nothing is helping you. Maybe you have a treatise for the heck of it. Maybe you don't. But the point is that you're literally biyad Hashem. Like Yashar Dvar Hashem.
Do you see, Rabbi, the reactions to that? Is there some kind of
always happiness. Always peace.
Peace.
I tell you again. I'm not kach kibalti miraboisai. I'm not telling you my techniques here. Kach kibalti miraboisai, but I had in Syracuse, New York. I had this situation, and what it was about tshuva that I was involved with. And this was his father was dying, and I came to visit. Not so much the father, but the Baal tshuva, but. This fellow was I don't know what unconscious means, because it's like a hard thing to define exactly unconscious, but it certainly didn't have any koach to talk or any koach to, and he was in a hospice program, and he was like really agitated, and I spoke with him the last minutes of his life, and he grabbed my hand and he smiled, and a tear came out of his eye. Now the doctor was standing there, and he said that this man is so dehydrated because they couldn't even give him ice chips because they didn't want him to choke on the ice chips. So completely dehydrated. The doctor, here's the scientific miracle. He shed a tear. Where did that water in his body come from? That's what the doctor said at the time. But and somehow got the koach somehow to say thank you. And literally, did tshuva. Now I can't say his whole life. He wasn't Shomer Shabbos. He was. That's for God. That's not for me. But at this moment, we put him under the beam of Yashar, and that's a great moment. But it's not a moment that we're looking to live in. Most of us are not looking to live in for our whole life. It's a moment. It's a moment. It's a moment of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, who I keep saying was ki'ilu ames. It's a moment of the Dor Midbar. It's a moment where I believe that those that were complaining against us. Take us back to Mitzrayim. like the works of Kol Sof. I mean, well, these are building pyramids. What are we doing over here? Like it's. I think that was their complaint. I don't think the complaint was so much about tomatoes and garlic, as it was like be part of life. And this is exactly what the Meraglim didn't want. The Meraglim didn't want this. They wanted to stay in that situation. So you can hear two sides to this to the shaila. This machlokes, this is what we're going to look. This is the machlokes, basically, if it's a machlokes between Rav Shimon Bar Yochai and Rabbi Shmuel, because Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was holding that Torah Matahelav, we have to put ourselves in the situation, and Rabbi Shmuel's derech was Hanig V'Minig Derech Eretz. And the Gemara doesn't even paskin the shaila. It says that it's just not going to work for you. It's kind of a harbe yasker shemari chaglei also biyad. So that's the. We'll leave it with that. Good Shabbos.
Moshe Katzel is saying Shiva.